Gita chant, chapter a day. So we'll just go through it quickly as a revision for the second chapter. Okay, so let's go to page 2. These are the deities in Malaysia. And then Gaur-Nitai deities, the prayers, we just had a bhajan, so we are not going to do that. Srila Prabhupada. And then understanding of Gita. And that's, so contents of the Gita summarized, part 1. So we are just going to quickly review the second chapter, what we have been studying this past few weeks. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy." Because Arjuna was telling Krishna, I will not fight. And so Krishna is saying, what happened to you? You know, you are not supposed to be speaking like that. You're a learned person. Then Arjuna said, nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. So because Arjuna is a pure devotee of the Lord, he is considering, what should I do? Should I fight or should I not fight? That's how a devotee does. You know, they have to consider, or what is better? What choice should I take? So that's what Arjuna was doing. And then Arjuna had given reasons for not fighting. Because he was compassionate to his friends and relatives. And he said, even if he won the kingdom, because all his relatives would be dead, then who would he enjoy the kingdom with? And then he had this fear of sinful reaction. He was saying that sins are going to come because he's going to kill his relatives. And he said that the family tradition will be destroyed. If all the elders of the family are not there, then who's going to teach the younger ones what is the moral etiquette, how things are supposed to be done, how the he gives one of the reasons he gives is how the pitra will be given food, you know. So what's going to happen to the future? What's going to happen to the forefathers, the ancestors? And indecision. He didn't know what to do. Should I fight or not fight? And so he says, now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So before this, Arjuna and Krishna, they were still on the platform of friends. Arjuna was just giving him excuses and excuses that the reasons why he didn't want to fight. But at this point, the relationship changes. Arjuna is accepting Krishna as his guru, as his spiritual master. He's saying, I surrender unto you. Now you tell me, you instruct me. So this is how, when we want to approach a guru, we should approach with submission, with humility, with inquiry, honest and sincere inquiry. Not that we tell the guru, oh, this is what I think and this is what I'm going to do. No, but with submissive, sincere inquiry. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you're mourning of what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, you're giving me so many reasons that, how the family tradition will go on. If family tradition is not there, then the women will get degraded. There'll be so many unwanted children. Because there's unwanted children, the religious principles won't be there, which we can see right now in Kali Yuga. That's what's happening. But at that time, Krishna was, but because Arjuna was giving these excuses, Krishna is saying, but your grieving is for the body, you know, but you're not the body. And so from the next verse on, he's going to start speaking about the soul. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So we might say, oh, how is it we are seeing our loved ones, so many people around us leaving their body? What do you mean? That in future we will, still exist? The reason is because what we see leaving is just the soul is leaving the body. But the soul always exists. It has always existed in the past. It's continuing to exist now. and it will continue to exist in the future. So we can see how we had baby bodies before, but those bodies are not there anymore. That body is disappeared. We have another kind of a body right now. And this body is also changing. And soon we will have to give up this body at one time. But we, the soul, will continue to exist. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So we can see here in this picture how there's a newborn baby, then it becomes like a toddler crawling, a little older starts walking and running, and then a teenage, then a full-grown adult, then starts the dwindling, old age, and then at one time we leave the body. And this cycle has been going on ever since time immemorial, since the time we are in the material world. Why? Because we are always, the example is given of the bird in the cage, that we are always taking care of the cage. We are trying to make the cage as beautiful as we can without caring for the bird. The cage is compared to our body. So we are trying to make our body as comfortable, as beautiful as we can, but we don't give enough nourishment to the soul. And what is the nourishment to the soul? That is of hearing and chanting. Chanting the holy name and hearing the message of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So, but then we might say, oh, but I can't see the soul. So then, I can't see the soul. So how do I trust what you're saying? But then is it that in our experience, whatever we see or hear, is that what is all true? Because there's so many sound vibrations which we can't even hear. But if we have the proper equipment, it picks up those those vibrations. How is the telephone otherwise? How is the sound passing? We can't see it passing, but somehow or the other we can, because the mobile is a suitable machine to be able to capture that sound. Or there are so many germs around us. There's so many germs around us. We can't see them. But does it mean they don't exist? They do exist, right? And I'm not sure of what is this? This example, I'm not sure. Anyway, we can go on to the next slide. So, but the point is that it's not that only if we can't see or we can't hear, something doesn't exist, because our senses are not perfect. So we cannot be so arrogant and say, oh, because I can't see it, something doesn't exist. We have to hear from authority. Bhagavad Gita is the authority. And Krishna is saying that which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. So we can see that our full consciousness, we have consciousness. If we press any part of the body which gets hurt, we do feel the pain. But a dead body, then whatever you do to the dead body doesn't feel pain. Why? Because the soul is not there anymore in that body. So there is no more consciousness in that body. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So the example is given that we change into new clothes every day, or we discard our old clothes. When our clothes become old and torn, do we feel sad? Oh, I'm throwing away something is torn and it's really ragged and I can get a new one. Then will we still feel so sad at throwing away the old one? No, we rather have the new one. So same, the body, when we are giving up this old body, we will get a newer body. So Krishna is saying, don't lament. This is how he's refuting the argument of compassion. Because Arjuna was saying, oh, I'm killing my grandfather, my teacher, but they were already in old bodies. So Krishna is saying, They're just going to get newer bodies then, just as you get new garments. So the car is like the body, and the driver inside, that is the soul. What we are doing is we are giving so much importance to the car, we are forgetting the soul itself. We are forgetting our own person. Or like saving the dress of a drowning man. If somebody is drowning in the ocean and we go quickly and we try to save them, and what we save is just their coat and their pant, and we say we saved the person. No, we just saved their clothes. We didn't save the person. Means we didn't do anything for the soul. The soul is the person, not the body. That is something which we forget. We have forgotten and we continue to forget that the person is the soul. The body is just a dress. It's just a machine. So then Krishna, okay, a revision from level 1. What is the characteristics of the soul? The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burnt by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. So we can't cut it. Here we are seeing, as we can cut some fruit, we cannot cut the soul. We can't burn it. We cannot drown it. We cannot dry it in the wind. The individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. So the soul is not that if we dissolve it in water, it's going to become dissolved and mixed together with the water. No. Or can we break it? Take a hammer and break the soul? No, can't. It can't be. We can't even burn it. It's unchangeable. We cannot change. It is said the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. So whatever happens is to the body, the changes that are happening from boyhood, from a baby to a young child, to a teenager, to an old man or a woman, whatever is happening to the body. We, the soul, are unchangeable. But we are so engrossed in the body that we don't care to find out who we truly are. You know, we are just concerned with our bodies and others' bodies. We are so enamored by this, the bodies, our body and others' body, we forget to ask, hey, what's happening? Why is this body becoming old? Why do I have to accept disease? Why do I have to suffer? One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So Krishna, because Krishna was telling Arjuna, you fight the war, and Arjuna was saying, no, I don't want to kill. So Krishna is saying, if we have taken birth in this material world, we are surely going to die. No matter how much we try to maintain this body, there will be a time where we have to give it up. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in the interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what is there? What need is there for lamentation? So in the beginning, the soul, we can see that for some, the soul first is there in the body of Mahavishnu. Then it takes on another body. Then it's there for some time in the body. Then it gives up this body. Then again, it takes another body. So Krishna is saying this is just the cycle of life. Why are you lamenting for the body? Lamentation of Chitraketu Maharaj. So this is an example given. Chitraketu Maharaj was a great king. He was a devotee of the Lord. And let's read on what they're saying. Okay, so I can just say a little bit of the story. So Chitraketu Maharaj was a very powerful king, and he had many, many wives. The reason he had so many wives was he wanted to have a son, but he was not able to get one. So one day the sages visited him and they asked him, "Are you well? Is everything well?" The king said, "I'm okay, but I'm not happy at all. I don't have a son. I want a son." So the sage said, "Okay, so soon in due course of time, you will get a son, but the son will be the cause of your greatest attachment and he will be the cause of your greatest sorrow." So at that time, Chitraketu Maharaj thought, "Oh, it's okay, maybe, he'll be the only prince surrounded by so many women, so many mothers, and so we are going to spoil him. And in that spoil, maybe he might do some activities which are not so good and we'll lament, oh, why is he acting like that?" Chitraketu said, "No problem, I still want this child." So the child grew up, and then I think he was about 4 years or something. And Chitraketu Maharaj was just spending more and more time with this queen, who was the mother of this child, and his son. He was just spending more and more time with them. So what happened is the other women, other wives of Chitraketu Maharaj, they got very jealous. They got envious. They got so envious that they poisoned the boy. They poisoned the boy, and then the boy died. And then everybody was lamenting. Chitraketu Maharaj was just lamenting, and he could not stop crying. And even the mother of the boy couldn't stop crying. By this time, the other queens, they realized what wrong they did, and they started lamenting. And amongst all this lamentation, the sage came back and said, "What happened?" Chitraketu Maharaj said, "My son went away, he died." So the sage said, "You want him? You want? I can bring him back to life." So Chitraketu Maharaj said, "Yes, of course, please bring him back to life." So then the boy got up, and the sage said, "Your parents are very sad here for you because you've left them. They want you to stay with them longer." So the boy said, "Which parents? I've had so many parents in the past. And I'm on my onward journey going on to another destination. Which parents are you talking about?" And Chitraketu Maharaj and his wife the mother of the boy was shocked. This was the boy that they had given their full heart, their full attachment to, and he does not recognize us. They were shocked. What is happening? The boy is saying, "I have so many parents and he does not care for us." The sage said, "Do you want to stay here? Your parents want you to stay here." He said, "No, I can't stay here. I have to go to another destination." And he left the body. And with that, then Chitraketu Maharaj realized, and he could give up his lamentation. He understood that is not the body, it's the soul, that we are the soul. And he became a very pure devotee of the Lord. He became a pure devotee of the Lord then. And just one moment, I'm going. Yeah, sorry about that. So this is to say, one more example, to say that we are not this body. We are doing everything for the body. We are so attached to the body, and we are so attached to everyone who's connected to this body. But one day we have to leave. We have to leave. And so we should prepare ourselves so that we don't get so totally devastated in that lamentation. Of course, attachment will be there. It will be there. Lamentation will be there. But understanding that we are not the body, we are the soul. All parts and parcels of Krishna. Then reading on Krishna. Any questions or comments till now? If not, then we'll continue with the review. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. So Arjuna is a Kshatriya. It is his duty to fight. And this war is a war based on religious principles. The Kurus were aggressors. They had done many wrong things, and so they needed to be punished. And so this was Arjuna's dharma. It is his natural duty to fight because he's a Kshatriya. Then, O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. So Krishna is saying, okay, fight. Why should I fight? Arjuna is saying, why should I fight? I don't want to fight. Then Krishna is saying, if you don't fight, you will be known as a coward. And then if you fight, you will win, maybe. So if you win, you will get an earthly kingdom. And if you don't win and you die, what will happen? You will go to heavenly planets. So in any case, whether you win or lose, you should fight because you have gained. Either you will go heavenly planets or either you will get an earthly kingdom. And in fact, if you don't fight, you will become famous as being a coward. This is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. So he's saying, you do your duty. Do your duty. Don't give up doing your duty. So, Kayami Bengali, the Sanatan Goswami, he is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And he approached Lord Chaitanya, who's Krishna himself in the mood of Radharani. And Sanatan Goswami asked Lord Chaitanya, who am I? That's the most important question we can ask. Whole day we are asking questions, you know. What should I do now? What should I eat? What should I wear? What time do I have to do this? Where do I have to go? We ask so many questions, but the important question is, who am I? And then Lord Chaitanya tells him that we are eternal souls, parts and parcels of Krishna. So here the example is given that more facilities are given to the government officer because he or she has to discharge more important duties. So when we see a government officer, he's given so many facilities, bodyguards, he'll have a good house, aides, secretary, so many things. Why? Because he's doing so many important duties he has those responsibilities. So we also, in this human body, we have more responsibility than the animals. That's why we are given so much facilities than the animals. You know, the animals, they just sleep on the road, they eat whatever they find. You know, they are suffering heat or rain, or cold, they don't have shelter. But we human beings, we are given more facilities. Why? Higher duty. What's our higher duty? To connect to Krishna, to connect to the Supreme Lord, to understand who we truly are. That is the first and foremost duty of a human being. So this is the next one, Buddhi Yoga, or working in Krishna consciousness, and a man in steady intelligence. That's the next part of the 2nd chapter, because the 2nd chapter is a really long chapter. So are there any questions till now on this review?
No.
No? So we'll just continue with this review of the 2nd chapter. So we studied the analytical study or descriptive knowledge of the soul and body. We saw what's the nature of the soul, what's the nature of the body. The body is going to destroy, the body keeps changing, the soul never changes, can never be destroyed. And then this part is teaching how we can work in Krishna consciousness, in bliss and in knowledge. So Krishna said, thus far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. So Arjuna told Krishna, I don't want to fight. So first, what did Krishna do? He gave Arjuna the knowledge. What is soul? What is the body? What's the nature of the soul? What's the nature of the body? And now Krishna is going to tell to Arjuna what to do with this knowledge. How should he act? So, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So when we take up devotional service, there is no loss. No loss. It's not that, oh, I've put some money in the stock market and the stock market is dipping, so my investments are going down. No, no, there is no loss. The minute we start hearing and chanting, that will stay with us immediately. What is the most dangerous type of fear? What is it? We can give up our body at any time. There is no guarantee. And so if we give up our body and then we go into the animal life, then for millions of years, we will be stuck in the circle of evolution. You know, then how will we get out of this material world? Then we remain in this material world. So we should take up this devotional service of hearing and chanting. In this life, material qualification does not continue in the next life. It starts from zero. So in this life, I studied so much, got a degree, got a college undergrad degree, studied 15 years, learned all the ABCs, became proficient in a particular subject. But then what happens in the next life? Again, I have to start learning ABC. So that's how material knowledge is. Material qualification is like that. It finishes when we give up this body, it finishes with the body. It's temporary. No matter whatever we collect for the body, we collect knowledge of the body, we collect, we make the body as fit as possible, you know, make it as beautiful as possible, but it will be finished as soon as this body is finished. This life and next life, however, spiritual qualification continues in the next life from where it was left. So we have seen practically that there are so many children being born in devotee families where at very young age, we can know that they had done devotional service in the last life. And that's why in this life, they're so eager to again take up devotional service. They're such small children and they know the verses of Bhagavad Gita, or they have that natural inclination to do bhajan and kirtan, you know. So that means this is a proof that whatever we are doing for our spiritual life, it's not going to finish. It will carry on in the next life. It will carry on. Because so many people say, right, that, oh, I'm wasting my time, wasting energy by doing this. What will I gain? But we continue our devotional service, continuing our purification. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. And what's the purpose of the Vedas? Is Vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. So we can have, there are so many, you know, in villages, they'll have a special well for drinking water, a special well for washing, a special well for bathing. But if we go to the river, we don't need these small, small wells. In the river, all our needs can be met in the same river because the river is flowing. So similarly, what's the purpose of the Vedas? Is the Krishna, knowing Krishna. That is the essence. So, for example, in this is the ringgit, I think. So, how in, for example, if we have $100 note, then already $1 is already there in it. $5 are included in it. $10 are there. 20 are there. 50 are there. Already included in it. But in a $1, there is no $100. It's just $1. In $5, there's no $100. It's just $5. But if we have $100, we have everything. So similarly, just by knowing Krishna, just by engaging in devotional service to Krishna, hearing and chanting about Krishna, we have done all the other activities. We don't need to do them separately, because Krishna, he is the essence of all Vedas. He is the Supreme Lord. He is the Supreme Source. The revival of Krishna consciousness by the individual living entity is the highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge. So we are living entities. We have this human body, and in this human body, we have a great responsibility. And what is our prime responsibility is to revive our loving relationship with Krishna, because we cannot do that in any other body when we are in the body of an animal or a tree or a bird or a fish. We can't do that. But in the human form of life, this human body is a suitable boat by which we can cross over this ocean of material existence. That's why so much importance is given. And that's why so much urgency is stressed. Srila Prabhupada, why is he being so urgent? Why? Because we can leave this body at any time. We can say, oh, but you're young. Why do you need to do Bhagavad Gita, all that? See other people your age, they're enjoying life. They're going to the pubs. They're going to nice holidays. They're going for cruise, enjoying. But is that the essence? Is that the goal of human life? Sure, enjoy. That's okay, you know. But also know that we are not this body. We are the soul. And that we have an eternal loving relationship with Krishna. And we need to revive that relationship. And that can be done only in this human form of life. And what will happen when we revive our relationship with Krishna? We do not need to take another material birth again. We do not need to be in this world of birth and death. We don't have to take another material body and again become old and disease and die. Well, somebody might say, well, what's the harm? What's the harm about it? Well, if we think like that, then we will continue to remain here in the material world. But for those who feel, no, I really don't want to come back. You know, I need to revive my relationship with Krishna. God exists and he's doing so much for me, and I have an eternal relationship with him. Let me try to revive that relationship. For example, if we have a parent and who we have not spoken to since many years, we somehow had some difference of opinion, and so we have not spoken to them, but isn't it our duty to go back to them and revive our relationship with them? So same way, Krishna is our Supreme Father. It is our duty to revive our relationship with him. He's giving us everything. He's maintaining us. So Krishna is going on. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, you do your duty, whatever in your position, whatever position. So same applies to us. The knowledge that Krishna is giving Arjuna is not only for Arjuna. It is relevant to each and every one of us, that we do our duty to the best of our capability, but not for the reason for our pleasure, but for the pleasure of Krishna. And not thinking, I am the one who do it. See, I did it. I did it. Krishna is saying, don't think yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, because we are just in this material body desiring. Nothing can happen without the sanction of the Lord. And over here, we need the facility of the material energy. So we thinking that I am the reason this thing I could do successfully is not a correct thinking. Krishna's sanction was needed. The help of the demigods was needed. The help of this body is needed. And Krishna is saying, don't be attached to not doing your duty. He's saying, do your duty. Do your duty. So we should do whatever position we are in. That's why Lord Caitanya said, wherever you are, whoever you are, you do continue doing your material duties. At the same time, just chant Hare Krishna. Just chant Hare Krishna. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. So we know for sure that sometimes we will be successful and sometimes there'll be failure. But Krishna is saying, don't be attached to the result. You continue doing your duty. So we will get affected. Sure, we do get affected. Oh, this was good, this was not so good. But we shouldn't get too attached to it. You know, if we get emotionally too attached, then we are not able to do our duty very well. You know, then our feelings overtake us. And because our feelings have overtaken us, then our perception and everything gets very skewed. You know, and in that bargain, we are not able to do the duty. So Krishna, and then we are always thinking, because I'm doing it. But rather, if we just accept the result, depending on Krishna, that is the correct position. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. So here we can see how the devotees, we have a Gurukul, you know, and then we have the Gau Seva going on. And then we have the hospital, the devotees have made the hospital. So the devotees are not, it's not that they are just sitting idle whole day. No, in fact, the devotees are working even harder than anyone else. Whole day they are working. So Krishna is saying, keep yourself away from all abominable activities by devotional service. So then how is Bhaktivedanta Hospital a devotional service? Why? Because over there, the patients are treated not only for their physical ailments, but they are given knowledge of Bhagavad Gita also. You know, they are taught about the body and the soul. They're given prasad. So that is all devotional service. Here, the farm is there, the cows are there. So the devotees are busy working. And the Gurukul is there to train from the very young age. So busy. In fact, a devotional life is even busier. So the results of fruitive activities versus Buddhi Yoga, Krishna Consciousness. Here is the result of Karma Yoga when we are attached to our result. And here is when we are working in Krishna Consciousness. So what happens when we are working as plain as Karma Yoga, just doing karma, not even Karma Yoga, just working? There's loss or diminution of the result. We can see if we are just, for example, gotten a material educational degree. Yeah, I have it in this life, but in the next life, it's gonna go away. I'll have to again study, again get whatever talents I've worked for. And in Krishna consciousness, there is no loss or diminution of the results. We can see how a devotee carries on their devotional activities wherever they go. They start from the position they stopped at. The consciousness is already developed to that degree. The faith is already developed to that degree. They don't have to start back again trying to build that faith. And in karma, what happens is we incur sin. We get sinful reactions. Why? Because everything actually belongs to Krishna. But when we are just doing karma and want to enjoy everything for ourselves, we are taking his things. And so that's why we get sinful reaction. And whereas when we work in Krishna consciousness, it could be the same work. It does not incur sin. Refutation of fear of sinful reactions argument. Why don't we incur sin? Because we are doing with the intention that I'm doing it for the pleasure of Krishna, and we offer the result of that activity to Krishna. Yeah. Does not get rid of good and bad reactions here with karma. When we are just engaged in our karmic activities, we are still going to get the results of our bad karma or the good karma, both of them. We have to come back to this material world to either enjoy or suffer. And when we are engaging in devotional service, our karma gets taken away. Krishna takes away. Then when we are just doing karmic activities, just working, I want to enjoy, what happens? There is no guarantee of human life in the next birth. We don't know what next birth we are going to get. Could be an animal, could be a demigod, could be anybody. And then if we are working in Krishna consciousness, one is sure to be born as a human being, either in the family of cultured Brahmana or rich aristocratic family. So there is no loss. We can see that if we engage in devotional service, there is no loss. In the next life, we'll be either born as devotees in devotee families, continue where we stop, or we will be born in rich aristocratic family. So which is better? Here, we are going to get maybe an animal birth. We don't know. And over here, our next situation is guaranteed. And gradually, on our path back to Godhead, going back home. And when we are just doing ordinary karma, our intelligence is not fixed. Not fixed at all, because we are so attached to the result and we get so much carried away with the result, we are not able to think properly. But in Krishna consciousness, because we depend on Krishna, we are not anticipating any result. We are performing our duty with just the purpose of pleasing Krishna. The intelligence is fixed, it's resolute. And then in karmic activities, there's no peace or happiness. There's no peace, no happiness, because the mind is so disturbed. Oh, this thing happened. Oh, why it didn't happen? It should have happened like this. Shouldn't have happened like that. So there is no peace. And if there's no peace, there can't be happiness. But in devotional service, because we depend on Krishna, then we can have peace, of course, because we are depending on Krishna. And then because we are peaceful, we can feel happy. And then what happens when we engage in karma? It results in entanglement. We get more and more attached. We are going to come back to suffer or enjoy the results of that. And in devotional service, it results in liberation. We can go back home, back to Godhead. And karma entangles one to work. We just get the modes, they make us work, you know. But in Bhakti Yoga, there is freedom from the bondage of work. Then we are just acting for Krishna's pleasure. So whatever stage we are at, whatever level of consciousness we are in, it is to our benefit if we can take up the process of devotional service. You know, it's not a benefit to others, it's for our benefit. And of course, because our consciousness changes, then automatically we benefit others, you know. Is that okay till now? Is it too much? Or is it okay?
It's okay.
It's okay. Okay, there's still quite a bit to go in this chapter, but it's almost 5. And we still have to chant 1 round. What do you all want to do? I'm seeing that there's still about 11 slides more. So I'm not sure.
Chant.
I'm sorry?
We can chant.
Okay, so we can start from this slide next time. So, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. I was thinking maybe we could